Hey, welcome to the podcast, you guys. And today is the fishing report day. And I wanted to first run through a bunch of stuff with you guys. First of all, thank you for listening to the podcast. And I never thought I would be a podcaster, but here I am. And I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's a lot of fun. I'm doing a lot of different podcasts, and it's definitely a hoot. One of the things you guys can do, if you like my work, you can first like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and or go to iTunes and write a review on iTunes. About 80% of you guys are listening to the podcast on iTunes, and it's really cool because I can see on my computer in the back end, like where people are listening to it. And it's actually like all over the world, which is crazy to think, Thank you to everybody that's listening in New Zealand too. That's kind of a trip out there. So that's kind of cool. But literally, I don't know, 15 different countries or something like that. And so I want to thank everybody for listening out there for sure. Also, if you guys want to hear anything or have some questions, go to my Guy Eugene's podcast at gmail.com, guyeugenespodcast@gmail.com, and you can leave a comment or even just ask a question. Love to hear where you're fishing, all that kind of stuff. Let me know what's going on out there. That's for sure. I'm going to answer a few questions from some listeners that did send in emails, and I want to definitely get to those. One concerns the wild trout section. I am proud to say that we have a sponsor called Manscaped, and if you go to manscaped.com and you put in the code Guy Eugene's podcast, they'll give you 20% off. So that's manscaped.com. And they, you know what? They sent me a bunch of their products, and man, I'm stoked on all that stuff they gave me. It's pretty awesome. If you guys don't know what manscaped.com is or what Manscaped products are, definitely go to their website, check it out. It's a great time to do a holiday gift for that loved one as well. And just put in the code Guy Eugene's podcast and get 20% off. It's pretty cool. Another thing you guys can do to support the Kern River Fly Shop is go to kernriverflyshop.com and support the shop with an outdoor gift card. You can get a guide trip. You can have your loved one shop in the shop, all that kind of stuff. I've been super busy doing podcasts, man. Let me a little swaggle of this. And I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I think I did like 8 podcasts this last week, and I had some really cool guests. This week, I've got a podcast coming out on Thursday, and the gal's name is Anya Zova, and she is the world kickboxing champ. And she's also a WWE wrestler and a stand-up comedian, actress, and activist. Her dad was born in Russia. Her mom was born in Ukraine. And we talk about that and the war that's going on and all that situation. But we also talk about her stand-up comic routine and how she writes, how she was the world kickboxing champion. And she's actually really funny. So if you guys want to check her out, Anya Zova on YouTube, check it out. She's a hoot. More folks that I have on there. What's unbelievable is all the people I've been having on the show. Another guy's name is O'Neill Williams, and he is the #1 Fox outdoor sports newscaster out there. His name's O'Neill Williams, and he's a hoot. He does hunting, he does fishing, he does all that, but we have a real good conversation, and he's coming out the week after that. I then have Angie Scott, who has her own podcast called the Women Angler Podcast, and we had a great conversation. And she's also on the Pro Women's Bass Tour. And of course, I love fly fishing for bass, so I picked her brain about bass and all that, which is fun. And then a guy that I really enjoyed, he really inspires me. He's super passionate about St. Croix rods. He's the national sales manager for St. Croix rods, but he's a real inspirational guy. He's passionate about fly fishing, and fishing is unbelievable, and that rubs off on you when you're talking to him. So I had a really cool conversation with him. I recently went up and did the Delta Delta Days with Sims and St. Croix and some other brands, Hatch and Traeger Grills, and it was really cool because up there in the Delta, they have this big event where you get to meet with all these different pros and other fly shops and stuff. And I met this dude who just opened up a fly shop in Arizona. His name's Chris Rich. And I just love talking to him. And he's super passionate about fly fishing. He's had the fly shop for about 2 years. And he's rocking it out there in Phoenix, Arizona. So not only does he have a really cool fly shop, he's a super cool guy, super passionate about all the fishing in and around Phoenix, which we talk about. But he's also helping out the community there, the homeless and the foster kids, and he's doing it through fly fishing. And so we talk a good conversation about that and his fly shop and all the fishing in Arizona, which is awesome. And then I have the famous Bart Hall on the show. And Bart is taking over basically his dad's legacy, the Fred Hall shows, and they are now calling them the Bart Hall shows. And he's got a show in San Diego, he's got one in Pomona, and he's got one in Long Beach now. So Long Beach is the biggest one. I'll be there. I'll have a booth. Definitely come out and say hi, but that's in March time frame. But I have Bart on the show. The other interesting thing about Bart that we talk about that I did not know, and which was really interesting to me, was that he is a jazz musician. He's a jazz drummer. And he's played with Miles Davis and Chick Corea and recorded with them. And so we have a conversation about that as well. So more podcasts coming out this week for me too. I mean, I should say recording. I'm recording like 5 more podcasts this week. And so my voice is all scraggly, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm having a lot of fun. So let's get to the fishing report. It's really interesting. You know, we just had some rains, and the river bumped up to about 600 CFS, the upper Kern, I'm going to talk about first. And the water got kind of murked up, and it's already kind of on its way down. It stopped raining this week. And the other interesting thing that happened, which is pretty rare, I mean, they did it last year where they stocked the river all the way through the winter. But the previous years, the previous 20 years, they didn't really stock it too much in the wintertime because of the water temperatures. But for some reason, they're starting to stock it in the wintertime. So they stocked it this last week. They put in 800 pounds up and down the upper Kern from the Johnsondale Bridge down to the Kern River Park. And people are catching a bunch of stockers. So you can have fun doing that up and down the river. They are going to be stocking it. I wrote down the dates here for you guys. They stocked it this week. They stocked it on the 4th. They're stocking it again on the 11th, or the week of the 11th. Next week as well, 12/18, and in the week of Christmas as well. So the whole month of December, they're going to be stocking the upper Kern River. And so that should make it a lot of fun for folks coming up in the wintertime when the fishing is usually pretty hard because of water temperatures. So putting in those fish in the 20-mile section can make it kind of fun. Something that I wanted to run by you guys as well is, you know, if you want to come up this weekend, we're holding a beginner fly fishing clinic on the 17th. It's called the Beginner Number 1. So you can come up and do that. And learn how to fly fish if you've never done that, or if you have somebody that wants to learn how to fly fish. We also have on Sunday, December 18th, we have the intermediate clinic. So if you're doing the beginner clinic, you can do the next clinic, or the intermediate clinic on the 18th, which is kind of fun. And then that night, on the 17th, Saturday the 17th, we're doing a fly tying class with the Bueller brothers. So come check that out for sure. And then also, I'm going to run through all the different classes that we got going on. December 17th, we have, which is this weekend as well, we have the Lower Owens River Clinic. And our bud, Rob Bueller, is putting that on up there on the Lower Owens River. And so if you want to learn how to fly fish the Lower Owens, go to kernriverflyshop.com, click on the classes, and you can sign up there. And then we go into January. And January 7th, I'm putting on a casting class in Bakersfield. So if you want to learn the single haul, the double haul, or if you just want to learn how to get better at fly casting, get a little bit more distance, learn how to cast in the wind, some mending type classes. Mending type fly casts. One's called the reach cast or the oval cast. You can learn how to do that. And then on January 14th, we have the Owens River Euro nymphing techniques class. And that's on January 21st. And then on the same day in Kernville, we're having the beginner clinic number 1 again. So those are super popular. Definitely come out and check that out. Oh, and then on the 21st, we have the fly fishing the surf in Ventura as well. So that class has been unbelievably popular. It sells out every time. We have 15 or more people in the class, and it's just been really popular. A lot of people learning how to fly fish in the surf because there's just, hundreds of miles of beach along the California coast, and not a lot of people are fishing it. So it's a great place to go. Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about the Upper Kern, the wild trout section. A guy sent me an email in, and he was talking about, he was an older gentleman, and he wanted to go fish above the bridge. And he went up to the bridge, and he noticed that the stairs were broken. So he had heard that from our podcast to go up and around and go up on the old mine trail, which is north of the parking lot there. And he did, and he went down the road, the trail a little ways, and he got down to the end, and it looked like a little bit too steep for him to go down. And that's true. That area, you go down to that, into that mine trail, and you got to do a little bit of, rock hopping to get down to the water for sure. So just kind of be aware of that. They are going to be fixing that staircase. The Kern River Conservancy got a grant, and Gary over there at the Kern River Conservancy has secured that grant money, and it's going towards putting in the new stairs. So we should hopefully see that by spring is what we're hoping to get those stairs fixed. Otherwise, you got to do a little bit of rock hopping to go underneath the bridge and get up there on the trail. So just be careful going up there. The Lower Kern right now, I haven't heard of them stocking it. That was a question I had for the Fishing Wildlife was they used to stock the Lower Kern real heavily in the winter months because the water temperatures would be a lot warmer down there. And I haven't heard of them stocking it lately. So as soon as I find out, I'll let you guys know about the Lower Kern trout fishery that we have down there in the wintertime, and that's super fun. Lake Isabella. And what we're finding at Lake Isabella is that the crappie right now are down around 25, 30 feet. And they're going from structure to structure. So they're kind of moving around. And some folks are actually finding these fish and targeting them and picking up a few crappie for sure. I'm going to go back. I kind of skipped over the Upper Kern. I'm going to talk about the Upper Kern again real quick. So back up onto the Upper Kern in the 20-mile section. When the water temperature gets really cold, the fish get real lethargic, and when it rains, it gets muddy, and just because of the fires that we've had and that runoff. So we like to use some more flies that the fish can see. And one of the flies that the guides have been using up on the Kern is this really cool fly called the Slim Shiny Soft Tackle, and it's a color blue, and it's about a size 14. And it's a really great original pattern that the Bueller brothers came up with. And it works everywhere, but it's a great pattern that the fish can see. It's got a little bit of a bling to it, and it's got some soft tackle, so it gives it some movement. We are using that fly quite a bit. We're using pink Frenchies. The Kern and the electric candy are doing really well. Gummy worms, the slim shiny perdigons, and yellow Sally stoneflies are all working pretty good. That's definitely something that you can get some fish on, is that bright stuff. The water is going to be a little bit heavier above the Fairview Dam. It's going to be flowing a little bit more above the Fairview Dam, and then they're taking water out at the Fairview Dam, and then 15 miles down below that, they're putting it back in the water. So the section from Fairview Dam down to the powerhouse is a little bit lower, so you can get in there and wait a little bit, and that's kind of fun. Back to Lake Isabella. Sorry for skipping around a little bit, but Lake Isabella is super low, and that can be kind of fun because the lake isn't all that deep in some areas, and you can target some of the bass. The bass have slowed down, of course, just because of the weather, but you can have a lot of fun still trying to fish for those. Owens River is rocking, and the guides have been going up there from the shop, and they've been guiding up there, and they've been doing really well. There's been a hatch between 12:30 and 1:30 of Blue Wing Olives, and the midge hatch is between 10 and 11 a.m. And those guys are using Griffith gnats and cluster midges for the midge hatch. And then they've been doing euro nymphing when the hatches aren't going on, and they've been picking up a lot of fish doing that. Some of the flies that they're using, olive, orange, hot and heavy perdigon. They've been using orange Frenchies, and also slim shiny soft tackles there as well, Baetis nymphs, tungsten redemption, BWOs. And then a tip that Rob Bueller, one of our guides, says is when you're moving upstream and you're going to fish, to be like a heron, and that's a great scenario to think about, is that when you're going up the river, is be really quiet and don't try to spook the fish. Don't go crashing through the water. If you're going to move upstream, get out of the water and move way away from the stream, and then pop in back into the water down below the run that you're going to fish. It's super good advice from one of our pro guides for sure. Just being stealthy is super important. A fishery that I don't talk about very much, and is in the the southern area of Bakersfield, is a lake called Buena Vista Lake, and that lake is fishing really, really good. They stock these giant fish called lightning trout, and they look like a giant golden trout. But you can go out there and you can catch them. They're also putting in, the Fish and Game are putting in fish out there as well, and so they're having a big fish derby out there on this weekend, the 17th. But during the week, you can get out there. You can get out there in your tubes and floating devices and cast to those giant lightning trout. A guy sent me an email. He's all, "Guy, I caught one of these fish. What is it?" And they do. They look like giant golden trout. They're pretty interesting fish. Another place that you can go that's fun, of course, is along the California coast, and you can pick up a lot of surf perch right now, which is a hoot. Those surf perch start coming in, the bigger surf perch start coming in the wintertime and spawning, and you can get out there and have a blast doing that. A lot of fun. So a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, if you guys want to support the podcast, definitely give us a review on iTunes. Also, like and subscribe on YouTube as well. And then also check out our new Instagram page, the Guy Jeans Podcast on Instagram. Definitely follow us on that for upcoming shows, all that good stuff. So you guys, thank you so much for listening, and I'm going to try to do these podcast river reports, fishing reports once a week. And so if you guys like that, let me know in the comments. Email me, guyjeanspodcast@gmail.com. And thanks for listening, you guys.